Hello everyone, welcome to my channel. My name is Janet and I do everything budgeting on this channel. So today's going to be a little bit of a different video. Tuesdays is always kind of my video to do something different on my channel. Still somewhat budget related, but just a little bit different, whether it's a topic or something else. So today I am actually going to do a work with me vlog. However, I am going to answer one of the most asked questions that I get, and that is, how did you start your small business and how much money did you spend on starting your small business? So that is kind of the questions that I'm going to go over while I work today. So let's get into the video. All right, I am going to be starting and doing orders like while I talk to you, because I have a lot of orders. Once again, I have 12 orders that I've had in the last couple days that I need to get started on. So that is what I'm going to be doing while I'm talking to you. So my most asked question that I get a lot on my YouTube videos is, how much did I spend in order to start my small business? So when I started on YouTube, I did not spend any money. I actually recorded on my phone and I did not have a camera, and that is how I started my YouTube channel. Now, my YouTube channel didn't cost me a lot, and I'm talking about not this channel, I'm talking about my other main channel, because I did start my other channel. It's been probably about a year and a half now, so I do have another YouTube channel on here. That's how I create my income through AdSense and through my affiliates, is from my other YouTube channel. And it is always linked down below if you're interested. I do have over 10,000 subscribers, which I'm so proud of. So this is what I'm talking about with that, because I still considered that a small business before I started Etsy or anything. It was still classified as a small business in my eyes. So I did not spend hardly anything to start my YouTube channel initially. I used my phone. I didn't have any lighting. I just literally learned. I had already, I already had like a laptop. I already had a iPad. I don't know which one it is. It's the cheaper one. I think it's the Air. And so I already had that. So that's what I was downloading my footage from my phone. I was downloading to my laptop and then editing, there we go, it on iMovie. And that didn't cost me anything. It was free. It came with like my computer, which I already had for like a year prior. So that didn't cost me anything at all. And that's how I started. I started with absolutely spending no money. And it was just kind of like a whim that I started my YouTube channel, because I really wanted to share my story, because I have lost over 100 pounds. And I wanted to share my story about how I did it, because I was already at my goal weight when I actually started my YouTube channel. But I needed to start from somewhere, right? So that is how I started, with technically absolutely no money spent on my channel of any sort. Whoa. And then I moved on after I was on YouTube for probably, it happened when I was, like once I got monetized is when I really started to think like, wow, I can make money on here and I can use it as a business. So when I started getting income from my YouTube channel, from affiliate links, that's when I really started thinking like a small business owner. I opened up a bank account for my business, which didn't cost anything, actually. I believe it didn't. It might have been like $10 maybe to open it. I can't remember, but it was very low. And that is how all of my revenue and income goes into my business account. And then when I'm buying things for my business, I take it out of that account as well. It's just easier at tax time, and it's just much better. So let me just open up my Cricut here, move you over, because that's actually what you're on. Because I am going to be starting to do some work here and print off some of the Cricut. So I started making revenue from AdSense probably about 6 months after I started my YouTube channel. It was very fast that I got monetized, and I was starting to make money off of my YouTube videos. So once I started making money from my YouTube videos and creating revenue from like my AdSense, I was still working at my day job. So I actually worked for the government. I worked there 12 years. It was a part-time position. I worked about 32 hours a week, however, and I was still doing that job. I was there for 12 years, like I said, and making really good money and just doing my YouTube as a side hustle and a hobby at that moment. And then I worked really, really hard with my YouTube to get more subscribers, to get more watch hours, and to create more revenue for myself. And as I was doing that, I was like, wow, like this could really be a full-time position for me. Like I love what I'm doing. It's not work for me. I absolutely love it. So maybe I can make this a business. So in 2021, like probably the summer of 2021 is when I realized that, and it just kind of shifted for me. And I realized, you know what, I can do this full time. I was actually at that moment, I was making more money through my YouTube channel, which is like my affiliate links and my AdSense and a bunch of different revenues. And I was like, wow, I'm making double, if not triple the money that I'm making from my part-time job working for the government and working 32 hours a week. I was making more money per month as a whole, more than when I was actually physically working at my job. So at that moment is when I was like, let me monitor my income for 6 months and see if I can actually do this and make it a full-time position. I have my cricket going, if you can hear that, so I do apologize. But it was at that moment that I realized that I was going to monitor my income for 6 months, and if I can consistently make more than what I was making at my job, then I would quit my job and become a full-time YouTuber. So I did just that. I monitored my income to the penny for 6 months. And during that 6 months, every month I actually doubled, if not more, my income that I was making from my job. So with that money that I was monitoring and that I was bringing in, I kept all of that money in my business account. Of course, I did have some expenses at that time. I use the Canva app, which is a website, sorry. It's a website that I pay like $16 a month for, and that is for all of my thumbnails, and I use it for like when I created my ebook through my keto ebook. I do keto coaching, so I did all of that sort of like graphic work through the app of Canva website. And I also downloaded or deal with Epidemic Sound, which is all of my songs that I use on my YouTube channel, my main YouTube channel. And there was just little expenses that I had every month that equals about $130. That was my expenses for my YouTube channel. That was it. So everything else that I was making during that month, which was like usually $1,600 or more, it was definitely like $2,000, over $2,000 months. And I saved all of that money. I saved all of that money in my business account while I was working, because I was still creating an income from my job, and we were, you know, saving and paying off bills and doing all of that stuff with my income, as well as like my husband's income, which I go over numerous times on this channel. And so that was another reason as well, because if you watch my channel, you'll know that we do have a guaranteed income that we pay all of our bills. So it wasn't really the income that we were receiving that we were depending on to pay bills, because all of our bills and all of everything was already paid through that guaranteed income. If you don't know what I'm talking about, make sure that you watch this video. I will put it up in the cards. It goes through explaining why I don't pay any of the bills with our income. But that was the moment that I realized that I could make this a full-time job. So what I ended up doing, like I mentioned, I saved all of that money in my business account for 6 months. So after I saved up all of that money that I had in my account over the course of 6 months, I decided that I was ready to quit my government job. And that happened this year in April of 2022. I ended up quitting my government job and I documented it all. If you have not seen that video, I will also link that up in the cards for you to watch. It was a really good video and I'm glad that I recorded it because it recorded kind of the stages of me quitting and from when I gave my notice and, you know, the thoughts that I was having after like week 1 and getting closer to that date of quitting. It was scary because that was a secure income that I had that I was giving up. But I also knew with hard work and the income that I was receiving from my main YouTube channel that I would be okay. I would be all right with the income that I was receiving as long as I was putting in the hard work and doing all of the things that I needed to do in order to be a successful YouTuber. So that is what I did. I had 5,000, I believe it was around 5,000 subscribers at that time that I quit my government job, and I did just that. I quit my job. I became a full-time YouTuber. I decided at that moment that I was going to start this channel, which is a budgeting channel, because at that time budgeting became so important for me and my husband. We wanted to pay off debt. We were getting close to retiring and I was able to retire. I know I'm still working, but you know, I was able to leave my job and work for myself at the age of 45. My husband is 55. He is going to be retiring in December of this year. And we really wanted to pay off our bills and our debt and do all of the things. And I thought, you know what, I'm doing that stuff anyway, so why not start a channel on recording our debt, our cash stuffings, our budgeting, and all of that. I might as well just document it. So that is why I started this channel. And as I started, after like a month or two, I realized this could be an option for me to start an Etsy shop and create these items myself that I was already using. So I decided to, one thing that I realized, I want to say this before I started my Etsy shop. My initial thought for my Etsy shop, because I found that I was using the zipper envelopes, I was changing those out so much. So I actually don't even use zipper envelopes. I sell them, but I don't personally use them. But for example, I use them for my savings challenges, but I want to show an example. For a let's just say you were using all of these zipper envelopes, but you were changing your categories on a regular basis, which I was, because I was just starting. So I initially got 8 or 10. I ordered from somebody on Etsy, and I ordered some of the envelopes with the labels on them. Once I received them, I was like, oh my gosh, I really don't even need some of these, but I need other categories now. And this is such a waste because it's an envelope that I literally won't even really use because now I don't even need that category anymore. So that was my initial thought when I started my Etsy shop. So I started out with creating envelopes and label inserts to go inside of your zipper envelopes. So this is what I created, and this was my first thing that I started making in my Etsy shop. So these here are envelopes which I make. I do it on cardstock, and I started because I only had a printer when I started. I had my printer anyways, and I was like, what can I do that's really kind of inexpensive to start selling on Etsy while making some money as well? And that's how I came up with these. It was that idea that I didn't want to be wasteful and buying all these zipper envelopes and then not using them and essentially just storing them or what have you, right? So that's how I came up with the envelopes to make. I designed the designs on my Canva, and that is how I created these envelopes. So these envelopes, what I initially had to do for starting my business on Etsy is what we're going to talk about now. Is I started out with buying a laminator and laminating sheets. That is really all I bought when I opened my Etsy shop. YouTube doesn't cost anything. Like I said, now I do have a camera. I was gifted that camera actually from my daughter for Christmas of 2021. And that's what I use now. Initially, it didn't cost me anything, but it was still an expense. So for my YouTube channel, let's just finish up and wrap that up, is I ended up getting a camera. I didn't buy it myself. However, it is worth probably about $1,000. I ended up buying, I didn't buy this. I got this as a gift. So if you're looking to start YouTube and you want to kind of like up your YouTube level, ask for things for Christmas, because that's what I did. I was like, wow, I can really like do this full time, but I need all of these things that are expensive and costly. So I started putting them on my Christmas list. And this is a speaker. So if you do a video that you want to just kind of like edit afterwards or do a voiceover, that's what this is for. It plugs right in to your laptop, and that is for voiceovers for your videos. So I put that on my Christmas list. There was a light, like a light with a holder for my phone at that time that I asked for. Like, there was just little things that I asked for Christmas that would help my YouTube. So I really didn't spend a lot of money on my YouTube channel, and you do not need to start, you do not need to spend a lot of money to start on YouTube. You can start recording with your phone. You can sign up on YouTube for a YouTube channel for free. You can edit on iMovie, even it's on your phone, that actually you can edit a video on your phone. You know, you really just have to do your research and look into it. It was a bit of a learning curve, I will say that. I learned it all by myself because my girls, you know, they're 20 and 22, but they don't have a YouTube channel and couldn't help me with editing or any of that stuff. So I literally had to learn everything on my own. So that's what I recommend for you if you're thinking about a YouTube channel. Do your research. Start with the basics. You do not need all this fancy equipment, but you need a phone. You can record with your phone, and you need some way to edit it, and then to upload it to YouTube through your YouTube thing. So highly recommend doing that. It was the best thing I ever done. Like I said, it was kind of on a whim during COVID in 2020, and it was summertime. My brother came to visit. We were sitting on the deck. I still remember this moment. And I was saying I always wanted to start a YouTube channel, like I have been for years. And my brother Clint was like, well, why don't you just do it? Like, you have a great story to tell because of my weight loss. You have great recipes, meal ideas, and all of these things that you could be sharing with others to help them. And that is when it started for me. So that is the conclusion for my YouTube. Now let's get into Etsy and what I did on Etsy and how I had the money to start up my small business. So like I said, when I started my Etsy shop, I had these envelopes for sale. And I also created some label inserts. So I ended up purchasing the zipper envelopes. And then I was creating an insert because at that time I didn't have a Cricut machine. I didn't know how to make envelopes. I had no idea how to do the vinyl and to do all that. But I knew how to create these, and I laminated these, and then I thought it would be like a great way to be less wasteful. So essentially for these, you would just put them in your zipper envelopes, and that was it. And then if you needed to change the category, you would just, you know, put these aside, and then I would be able to make some more for you. And it was free shipping in Canada for these, and it was like just the postage sent to the States and international. So it was really inexpensive to like order more of these and, you know, less wasteful. So that is how I started technically my Etsy shop. I only had a few items on there. And then what I ended up doing is I researched a lot of companies and a lot of wholesale companies that I could work with. And I took the plunge, as I like to say, and I ordered budget binders. And I did not order a lot to begin with because I had no idea how they would do and how many people would buy them and how much traffic essentially I would be getting to Etsy. Like, I had no idea. So I ordered, I think my first batch was only 50, and that is all I ordered. And literally they sold out, I want to say within a couple of weeks, if that. They were very popular. I used the correct like search engine words on my Etsy shop, and my Etsy shop just kind of took off. So another question that I get asked is, how much money, or how did you afford to buy all of your inventory, like now, right? So now I have quite a few. I probably have about like 300 budget binders that I have in stock, and there's other things that I have bought that I have yet to launch, but I will be launching very, very soon. But all of that money that I mentioned at the beginning of this video that I saved up for those 6 months, I still had sitting in my business account. So I had that money sitting in my business account, which, you know, was quite a bit of money, you know what I mean, at that time. And I just kept it in there because I didn't know, once I started working for myself, I didn't know how much money I was going to be making, right? So I wanted to save up money just in case I wasn't making what I thought I was going to make, or what I have been making on my YouTube, right? On my main YouTube channel. So that is why I saved up all of that money at that time. But then as time went on, I was still making really, really good money on YouTube through my main channel. And then I started this channel and my Etsy shop. So at that moment, I made the decision to invest in my small business. And what I mean by invest in my small business, essentially I was getting product. I was getting products that I was spending out of that account in order to sell on Etsy and start essentially my small business of Janet Greta Budgets. So everything that I make now, even though I did spend thousands of dollars creating inventory for myself, that at least is paid for. I did not get a loan. I did not put it on a credit card. I didn't do any of that. I paid for all of the inventory that I have, and my Cricut machine that I got off of like Facebook Marketplace, and all of the things that I've bought, my shipping products, my envelopes, my stickers, my labels, everything that I've bought for my business, I have used out of my business account that I saved up previously. So I highly recommend, if it's possible, even if you're working a job right now, a 9-to-5 job, putting money aside in order to start your Etsy shop or whatever small business that you want to start, I recommend doing that first. I do not recommend putting anything on a credit card and paying yourself back, and you don't know how well your product is going to do. So, you know what I mean? I invested, it was probably about $2,000 to $3,000, I would say, as a whole, all in all. But I don't know, like, I didn't know how well it would do. So if I would have put that on a credit card or gotten a loan, I don't even know if I can pay that back, because I didn't know if my products were going to sell. So I recommend saving up money. If you're at a 9-to-5 job, or however you can save money for inventory, or to buy your first Cricut machine, to buy your vinyl, I recommend saving up for it first. And then now when I create revenue from my products, that money is just revenue. Yes, there is some partial money of it that I would have bought that product. So like, for example, my A7 budget binders, right? These are a cash wallet. I had to buy these from a wholesaler, and you know, whatever amount I paid compared to what I sell it for, the difference is revenue. But I don't figure that out, because the money that I make from selling this is like all revenue to me, because I don't have to pay it back. Yes, I do kind of separate it so that when I do have to buy more product, I have that money to buy more product. But I don't necessarily think about it like, oh, this cost me so much, I sell it for so much, what is my revenue from it? I don't think of it that way. So it's a little bit different, and I think everybody runs their business differently, and it's just a personal thing how I do mine. Somebody probably obviously does it differently, but that's how I figure out my business. So that is how I started it. That is how I created my small business. And right now I have bought a lot of inventory that I don't actually need to buy a lot of stuff. So right now I do have tons of inventory, as you can see behind me. I took the plunge once again once I started making revenue, and I used that income in order to buy lots of product and lots of inventory, so I didn't have to worry about it. So I didn't have to be like, oh my gosh, this sold out. Now I have to wait another week or two before my new binders come in, or what have you. I wanted to make sure that I had enough inventory that would last me a while, and by what I mean a while, like about a month, right? So I have enough inventory to last me a month, and then when that inventory starts getting low again, when I'm down to like my last, 5-10 binders, then I have the income in order to buy more inventory. And that's how a small business works, right? So it's a little confusing, but like I said, everybody works their small business differently, and I use my business accounts. It's very, very important to keep that all organized. I am a very organized person. I am a type A. I keep all of my receipts. I match them to my bank statement for the month. Like, I am very organized in that way. So to each their own, but I highly recommend doing your research, thinking about what you're going to sell, thinking about how much it's going to cost, saving up that money to start with. I really recommend saving money and not putting it on a credit card or anything like that, or getting a loan. Like I said, my initial investment wasn't very much, because even though I had that money in my business account, I really didn't want to spend that money. Like, I never knew that I would actually start this small business. It took a while before I got enough income and revenue in order to buy the inventory that I have now. And that's just with every small business. So if you're thinking about starting a small business, definitely, like I said, do your research, save up the money for your inventory, and start small, because you never know how your business is going to do. I did not want to buy thousands of dollars worth of inventory if it wasn't going to sell, right? I had no idea. So start small, invest a little bit more every time with your inventory from the revenue that you make from your little, starting point, and go from there. That's all I can recommend, but I get that question all of the time, as far as like, how do you buy more inventory? Like, because I know when I explain on my videos my income that I use with our weekly budget, that some of that, I still have a lot of savings in my business account. However, some of that income does go to inventory, depending on what I need. Depending if I need more laminating sheets, if I need more shipping supplies, that money will come out of my business account, and whatever I'm left over to cash budget that week is what I have left over. But it is still my business account, so priority out of that business account, other than making money myself, is your business. Whatever is left over is what you make and what you have left with to budget, right? So that is my most requested question that I get all of the time, so I thought that I would make a fun little video. I didn't get very far on my order, but I am going to finish that up. And thank you so much for watching, you guys. Please make sure that you give a thumbs up on this video. Make sure you're subscribed to the channel, as well as you have those notifications on, in order for you to get notified for my next video. Thank you guys for watching, and we will see you in Thursday's video.